Hebrews, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Okay, Hebrews, you know, Israelites are waking up. We waking up in captivity and ain't nothing they can do about it. I'm talking about ain't nothing they can do about it. But this is what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to hinder it. And me and I want to reflect on how long we Israelites been out of heritage. Man, we've been out of heritage over 2,608 years. Around about the Babylonian Wars, around about 588 BC, around about up in that time, the whole Israelite nation ran into Africa. The tribe of Judah became victim to the Egyptian religion. The northern kingdom was already destroyed. Its monarch and the leaders was already destroyed, men around 722 BC when the Babylonian scribes was placed in our land. Hebrews, this is serious because we waking up, and as the Israelites wake up, I got a video explaining the Kemp's doctrine and how that doctrine was created before all the archives and books and information that's been stored for thousands of years been put on a computer and on the internet, and how the camps are functioning with outdated information, and how they haven't revised their information, and how they, worshiping demigods. Man, they make everybody into Israelites, and they treat this Israelite struggle as if it's not all the way real, but Christianity be having them brothers' eyes blocked, the brothers and sisters that believe in the New Testament, not knowing its origin or where it come from. But if you listen to the Israelite Brotherhood history, I explain, the origin of the religions and so forth. All right, Hebrews, we've been out of our heritage a long time. A long enough time for people to try to resist and use false information to say, hey, y'all are not Israelites. Y'all are not this. But guess what? Almighty Yah is powerful, and His word is powerful, because guess what? I done put it all together. I got the correct formula of how our history should go. The Israelite Brotherhood got the most correctest history, and I don't be trying to flex because, we all started at zero, and the Creator gonna bless who He gonna bless. And He done showed me what happened to us and how, we abandoned our heritage. It's basically in the Tanakh. It's just having the open mind to understand that, we Israelites abandoned our heritage during the Babylonian Wars. We had a chance to stay on the land, but we chose Egyptian religion and African customs because we was used to that. We sojourned in Egypt, for 400 years. That's a long time. And after sojourning there all that time, we picked up some Egyptian customs, which should have taught us when we went into the promised land after coming from that bondage system that the Egyptian government and administrative structure oppress its citizens, and how a group of citizens could be doing all right, and then by their administrative structure, a group of citizens can be doing bad. And that's what happened to us. It's like the situation we in now. We oppressed. Yes, some of us escape the oppression and manage to obtain riches, but the vast majority of us suffer, and it's like the whole system is on our back. The taxes, the poverty, starting off with nothing, and basically that come from being enslaved. And then, if you've been enslaved as a population in an ethnic group in the millions, and then you turn loose all of a sudden then you can't expect everybody to be successful overnight, especially when, the people were brainwashed and beat and forced into another ideology by whip. Yeah, we was forced into another ideology by whip, because when we left Africa, man, there was some customs there, and those customs on the African continent are not just bad. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of, civil and right and stuff, and that they didn't have the homosexuality and all that stuff. So us living in Africa, it wasn't bad. We wasn't on the promised land doing the covenant like we supposed to, but we was making it in Africa, and then when we was kidnapped and then brought to the Americas and then forced into another ideology and mentality, we still reaping the repercussions behind that. But all that was prophesied to happen, in Tanakh history, to us Israelites for breaking covenant. Alright, Hebrews, look. We Israelites are reclaiming an abandoned heritage. We trying to reclaim our heritage and our identification first. We have to be identified as Israelites first. That's the first thing. And then as we are identified as Israelites, and then we got to force this on the population, what's holding us back, like I said, that we suffered from slavery and the people, man, is damaged, but it's that you got a segment of our population that love our oppressors, and won't let our oppressors go. The same as we are the people in Tanakh history, the way that we came into the land of Canaan, and how, we embraced them instead of destroying them, and how that eventually, destroyed us. Alright, Hebrews, I want to mention this too. That's like us being here in captivity, right? And we know that the people, the non-pigmented people that held us in captivity in the slavery days, and they forced a color issue, on us. So, that color issue that they forced on us gonna be, still prevalent and present with us, and that's something that ain't finna go away. And how that the European descendants that oppressed us in the slavery days, how about when they turned us loose, that their descendants are the police? And man, it's wrong to for this system to have a police and a military force over us and then held us in slavery. We gonna be oppressed, and they gonna kill us like they doing, and dog us out. You see this throughout the news media where the police is just gunning us down. How about this been going on, for hundreds of years? And it's just now being reported that back in the days before the phones, that it was just a ongoing thing, that the police kill you, and that was that on that. We being oppressed terribly, and guess what's holding us back and making our oppression long enduring is that the vast majority of our people are still identifying themselves as blacks, African Americans and stuff. And long as they identify by those titles, the vast majority of us, that's like black means death, destruction, and no good. How you gonna ask your oppressor to not, harm you and beat you down when you are identified by a title that's supposed to bring on, troubles, death, and destruction? That's like they got the Black Lives Matter. Yeah, but if you understand their language, black lives really don't matter, because black means death, destruction, no good, and no accomplishment. You see, we have to understand the words, man. The words is important because that's what them people go by. Words and its meanings and so forth. That's why they criticize us when we create a secondary language outside theirs, and they call slang, ebonics, and so forth. It's because they trying to keep control of the wordings, the words and its meanings and stuff. And that's basically what we imprisoned to, what we are imprisoned in an Amorite administrative culture. You know, this Amorite culture that we are imprisoned to is the culture that our Father Yah told us to destroy, cause it ain't no justice. There's no justice in this system, and this system is made to exploit and destroy. And this is a Canaanite culture that we are in bondage to. And it's like, you know, we had a chance to destroy it, and we had a chance to destroy the Canaanite culture that we are in bondage to, and we didn't. You know, 2,608 years ago, man, we abandoned the covenant for Egyptian religion. We abandoned the covenant for Egyptian culture. And that what caused, you know, the slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, because the Creator outlined the curses. And it's like this: if we fell outside that covenant contract, then we would be vulnerable to certain things. You know, that's like men in Africa, you know, when we ran in Africa, you know, abandoning the covenant and we're being tricked into Africa, abandoning the covenant, we was vulnerable because we wasn't on our home turf. And then we start fighting for resources. You know, that's like I explained in a lot of videos. You know, if you brothers and sisters look at the Israelite Brotherhood archives, you know, you're going to be brung up to speed on our history fast. And man, this is anti-camp doctrine. This is anti-Jewish myths. You know, it's the history that the Israelite Brotherhood show. But check this out, Hebrews. When we ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars, and when we stayed into Africa, and then we stayed in Africa, in the Sahara, you know, our first derogatory name was Gramentian. You know, and I explained that how, you know, they even got man, well, they did a headline article not too long ago, a couple of months ago, where they was explaining how a captured person from the transatlantic slave trade that was called a Gramentian, how he showed them how to cure smallpox. And these the same people that, you know, had that witch of Salem hunt going on in Virginia. Now, we know that if they brung one person called Gramentian to the Americas, is that they brung a whole ship full of them. And that was our first derogatory name. You know, them folks had a standing army in 600-700 BC in Lower Libya, and those were the Hebrews that broke covenant during the Babylonian Wars, and that ran into Africa, man, to hide. As we said in the Tanakh, we would do that, you know, and I'm going to explain how we disrespected the Creator big time, you know, and this is where all our troubles come from. And we have to acknowledge what we did in the past and get an understanding so we can be the people that we supposed to be. Because, you know, we can't continue to be these Negroes, African Americans, and blacks, because they can be destroyed. They're being destroyed. They're being destroyed systematically, and having that title upon you with no culture, no ancient history, and connected to nothing in the past, that you could be systematically erased from history. You know, they can erase us from history as they doing. You see how that title Negro was colored was with us. Colored was with us. They called us colored for about 75 years after slavery, and then they called us Negro. You see how them names disappeared? It's people that disappeared and perished with them names on them. The same as the way with a Negro. Man, this Hebrew Israelites perished with that name Negro. Millions of them perished with the name Negro on them. And that's like black and African American. Me and Hebrews perishing every day with the title black, Negro, and African, with them titles that they created on us, because our enemies got a system set up to where that they can destroy you and you don't matter in world history because you have a false title attribute to you. You got a false title, man, you know what I'm saying, on you. And with that false title, it could be erased in history and so forth. So we dealing with some dangerous people whose culture go back thousands of years before we was even Israelites. When we exited Egypt and was going into the promised land, the Creator kind of like gave us a little sample of an evil, wicked system. When we was in Egypt, and after Prophet Joseph was there, and his whole family come to Egypt, our family come to Egypt, and then we experienced the bondage there, and then when we left going into the land of Canaan, and we was going to a semi-system that functioned the same as Egypt with how it's trade and its laws and all of those evil, wicked stuff, and how we didn't get rid of that Canaanite culture that dominated the whole Mesopotamia area. The whole Mesopotamia area. From the Nile to the Mesopotamia area, we was supposed to get rid of that Canaanite culture. And we didn't. And that Canaanite culture that we were supposed to get rid of don't have no love. It have no love for the widow. It has no love for the hungry. It has no love for the homeless. It has no love for the child that's fatherless, the orphans. The Canaanite culture was evil and wicked, and they sacrificed their kids and newborns to gods that they created and so forth, and how that they had an evil, wicked system set up to where when a woman was impregnated from prostitution, because this system caused it poverty and hunger and misery and so forth, and how that children was born in that wickedness, and they would sacrifice their kids to not to have their kids endure that home hardship and so forth. So the Creator told us to get rid of that system. Get rid of that system. And when we come out of Egypt, we were supposed to get rid of that system, but we became victims to that system, because it's like us Israelites, that's like now today, after being released from slavery, we have no sense of unity and togetherness. We don't have that, and we basically stop really having that in the promised land. Is when one part of our peoples wanted to follow Almighty Yah, and the other ones wanted to follow the Egyptian culture. So that caused disunity right there, and we've been disunified for a long time. But if you study Tanakh history and you believe in Almighty Yah and His prophecies, and man, I'm here to tell you that they're gonna come to pass, is that we're gonna have some unity. But I believe that when we was in Egypt, that we was supposed to get the understanding of how wicked that system is, and then when we got in Canaan, was to destroy the identical system. You see, and that's like here, us in bondage. Man, when we come out of this bondage and get somewhere by ourselves, we ain't gonna want nothing to do with a system like this that we just come off from up under. Man, we've been the people that's been destroyed continuously for a long time. And this system is unjust. And if we got by ourselves, which the Tanakh promises us is gonna happen, that we gon' man, we don't want no system like this. And now we want to have some unity. We want the Tanakh history of what the Israelites supposed to have did from the beginning, minus the sacrifices. We ain't got to have no sacrifices no more. But far as brotherly love, not stealing from each other, not killing from each other, and holding your brother in honor, we gonna have that. And basically, you have that in the Israelite community. We not at each other's throat, like the Negroes and the Black Seals. And how about, even though I disagree with them camps' doctrine, and I know that they holding us up, but I understand how they got that way, and that, coming from slavery, and then the Jim Crows, and then the civil rights, and then the 60s and 70s, how that, them putting that little history together, how they just tried to, do their best. And then what was going on at the time in the 60s and 70s was that, they was trying to fight against that racism and so forth. So the camps embraced it. Everybody that the Caucasians and so-called stepped on and then whooped on, even though them folks idol worshippers, the natives, and then how that the camps say, oh, them our brothers and that's us, not knowing that the natives ain't never been to Africa, ain't never broke no covenant, and not understanding that we Israelites were a technological people, and that we had wheels, houses, or houses with roofs on it, that we had laws that if a man got on your roof and fell through your roof, that how you was responsible, and all kind of stuff, that we wouldn't abandon our culture just because we went to America where there was overabundance of materials, and we wouldn't abandon our heritage in Africa, and then in the promised land, and then got over here in the Americas, and with all the trees and bricks and the same identical stuff in the East, but even more abundance in how we would have built us a civilization over here in the Americas. So, we know ain't no Hebrews come to the Americas, because I proved that it wasn't no 10 lost tribes, and there ain't no tribes left Assyria time and then went all up in these other nations and disappeared to the Americans, and how that's false history and stuff. And that's another thing that'll keep us separated and not having unity, is that the Israelites are not on one central history. The Israelite Brotherhood is establishing one central history, and if you Hebrews, you know what I'm saying, pray, pass the word around and get other Hebrews to watch the history and understand, then we can start having some unity. But we're not going to have too much unity right now, is because you got a segment of the Israelite population believe in Jewish myths and stuff, and their history is dominated by it. And I explain that in videos too. But Hebrews, we've been out of heritage, man, a long time. And us waking up now, man, is a challenge, because you got to be a double Hebrew, man. You got to be double the Israelite. You got to be the Israelite that resists all kind of evilness today. You got to be an Israelite to not only resist the evilness of our enemies, but you have to resist the evilness of our people, just like in the past. And then we in captivity and don't have nothing. That's like me. I ain't ashamed to say it. But man, I be making it off, man, by the grace of Almighty Yah. Man, I might have $20, $30 just to make it off for the whole week. No more than, you know what I'm saying, that. And I've been surviving like that for years by the grace of Almighty Yah. Man, if any tragedy or anything was to go wrong in my life, man, it'll throw Men it'll throw me off and throw me out. And I've been living by prayer and by the grace of Almighty Yah, man, for the longest. You know? Alright, Hebrews, let's jump into a little of this history that I want to try to explain, how we've been out of heritage. We already know, I explain in detail how we Israelites abandoned our heritage. You know what I'm saying? But now that we trying to reclaim it, man, we got to have some type of standards set, man. We got to have some type of standards set, and we got to have some type of goal set. But we can't have no goal until, man, we get us a place that we can call headquarters that we can all rely on. It's rough right now, but Almighty Yah gonna make a way. All right, look here, Hebrews. Look, this was brotherly love right here. And if we would have treated each other righteous and not being wicked towards each other, see, it's like now, we'll be wicked towards each other, but the people that do us wrong, we'll bend over backwards to please them. Man, it's crazy. All right, look, thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep. Now remember, this is 3,000 and 4,000 years ago. So the technology that they explaining in, man, we on a whole different level now. But the principles is the same. The man, he telling you, don't steal from your brother. Don't steal from your sister. Don't steal from your kind. Don't steal from your neighbor. Don't rob him. Don't break in his house and steal his stuff. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And this is what the scriptures basically wanted us to do. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray and hide thyself from them. See your brother cow roaming off and you don't try to turn it back to where it's supposed to be. Love and respect for each other start with little bitty things like that. When you start acting civil towards each other and we trying to help each other, then, man, that'll make unity, spread among us. Look, thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee unto thy brother. Seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again. Now, you see how the Almighty Yah telling you to go out your way for your brother. You're supposed to go out your way and help your brother. That's how our enemies been successful, because you don't see them fighting and killing each other. You don't see them folks killing and harming each other like we do and been known to do. That's like now. All the European nations, France, Germany, Britain, the United States, all them got nuclear bombs. All them got nuclear bombs, and all them ride together. They all ride together, and then they got laws where they got to roll with each other and be nice to each other. You see what I'm saying? And then look at us, many peoples on the African continent. Man, they ain't got no unity. They all fighting against each other. They killing each other wholesale, war, and this one is greedy for this, and it's a mess. And then that mess come from them Africans being on them Canaanite, Amorite religions and so forth. All right, Hebrews. All right, look. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto him. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, if he ain't around, or if thou know him not, you ain't even got to know the brother, and this stuff and roamed off, and you supposed to keep his stuff and give it back to him. Look, know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again. In like manner shalt thou do with his ass, and so shalt thou do with his raiment, that's his clothes, and with all lost thing of thy brothers, which he hath lost, and thou hast found, shalt thou do likewise. Thou mayest not hide thyself. You see what I'm saying? And then the Tanakh called us brothers. And he didn't even have to know this individual, this Israelite, and then that was his brother, and he was supposed to show him honor and then do him right. You see what I'm saying? Let me see. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again. You know, we're supposed to help our brothers. And long time ago, before the civil rights come about, and then we was tricked out of our resources by Martin Luther King and them, that we had a sense of unity. We had our own businesses, and we was doing business with each other, even though we was kind of forced to, but it was like harmony in the community. And then the enemy tricked Martin Luther King them into marching to get off into their stores, and then we've been messed up ever since. All right. Man, the Tanakh is full of how we should be righteous and how we should do right to each other, and not do wrong, and be right, and have just weights and everything. You know what I'm saying? And then if we would have been right towards each other, then our enemies wouldn't have been able to stand against us. You know, they wouldn't have been able to stand against us. You know what I'm saying? That's like this. Alright. Where is that? Let me see. No man shall take the neither or the upper. Let me see. Where is one? Alright, look. And now this is deep here. Now this lets you know that we Israelites, you know, it's like some Israelites be selling the sisters, calling themselves pimps and stuff. They best, but y'all best know that when we get a place by ourselves, that and if some of y'all manage to get in among us that don't worship Almighty Yah, and you bring that wicked among us, we're gonna put your lights out real fast. We're gonna put your lights out so fast. If you come among an Israelite camp when this country go to war and we all together, and you try to bring this wickedness of this nation that we done endured to where we at, we gonna put your lights out real fast. That's why you people that's called Negroes and blacks, you better wake up, because when you get among us Hebrews, we ain't gonna want that wickedness among us. We ain't gonna want that wickedness among us, and you gonna be the key to that wickedness. We gonna get rid of you. We're going to get rid of you real fast, because, man, we're going to be free of the wickedness. We ain't going to want this old evil, wicked culture to rob and steal and killing, pimping the sisters, and just being low down and dirty. We're going to be through with all that. We're going to be through with all that. And if you come among us and we see you like that, we're going to do the scriptures on you. Your head going to roll. That's how it's going to be. And even Almighty Yah say he going to filter out the rebels and stuff. And we know Almighty Yah uses people to do his work. Look, check this out. All right. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and maketh merchandise of him, or selleth him, then that thief shall die, and thou shalt surely put evil away from among you. You see that? So it's the same as a brother selling a sister for merchandise. Selling a sister for merchandise, calling yourself a pimp. We're going to put your lights out when this country fall, and then you get amongst us Hebrews. You know, and Israelites is waking up fast too, and our enemies hate it, and they can't stop it. It's something that's out of their hand. You know, look, that's like this. The Hebrews that believe in the demigod worship, they don't know that Almighty Yah already set the curses out, and there wasn't no escaping the curses, so it wouldn't be no need for no demigod, a God's son, coming to save you from what? Because you can't get saved from Almighty Yah's wrath in his curses, in his words that he said what happened to the Israelites when covenant was broken. So God's son, men serve no purpose. Look, the father shall not be put to death for the children. This is Deuteronomy 24:16. The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the father. Every man shall be put to death for his own sins. Man, it's probably throughout the scriptures everywhere. You know, I done read it a few times throughout the scriptures. You know, let's see here. Let's go to Ezekiel 33. Man, I turned almost right to it. 33:19. But if the wicked turn from his wickedness and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live thereby. Yet ye say this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, man, we know it's supposed to be like that. Let's see some more. Some more of them verses. Alright, let's go to Ezekiel 18:20. 18:20. And see what it say. Because the scripture is supposed to back every scripture's back every scripture. Look, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wickedness shall be upon him. So then, you know, everybody had to be held accountable for their own sins, and how the Creator just wouldn't send no God's son to be getting executed for the evil, wicked Israelites. Man, it's messed up for somebody to go get killed for our evil and wickedness, and knowing we wasn't gonna stop being evil and wicked. It's like they sacrificed themselves for nothing. And then, you know, ain't nobody should be sacrificing themselves for the Israelite sins, because the Israelites been some evil, wicked people. And that's what the Tanakh show. You know, the Tanakh show how we been evil and wicked and stuff, and how we ain't been righteous none whatsoever. And if you look here, but he slew not the children. That's the Second Chronicles 25:4. But he slew not their children, but did as is written in the law of the book of Moses, where the Elohim commanded, saying, the father shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the fathers, but every man should be put to death for his own sin. So, man, I bet you that's throughout everywhere. So, you know, how did the people come to believe in the Jesus story coming to save us? They're going to come from the slavery days, you know. And how about the religion Christianity that our people is on now is a break off and a revise from the Egyptian religion, the IS Horus story and so forth. And that why we are clinging on to that stuff, because we broke the covenant for its original parent religion. You know, the Christianity gonna be a break off of the IS Horus religion. And the IS Horus religion is the Egyptian Queen of Heaven religion that we broke the covenant for. And let me show this, because this is what, you know, got us in trouble 2,608 years ago. You know, I already explained how we come out of Egypt, supposed to go into the promised land, and after experiencing the Egyptian culture, how they should have made us get rid of the Amorite, Canaanite culture, but how we embraced them folks and then was eventually destroyed by both systems, Egypt and the Canaanite culture, you know what I'm saying, destroyed us. And then how that, you know, we were supposed to follow the law, but how we was tricked. And then this is what we said, you know, that's like I said, you know, coming out of Egypt, going into the promised land, you know, with Prophet Moses, we held it down. With Prophet Joshua, we held it down. And then, you know, the judges, we started embracing the Canaanite tribes, stopped driving them out, and start partying and kicking it with them. And that's what the book of Judges gonna be out, you know what I'm saying, be about. And we know how the history in Judges go. Even the tribe of Benjamin, prophet, our father Jacob, youngest son Benjamin. It's like the youngest ones with the least experience always become victim to our enemies. That's like in Egypt. You know, Ephraim gonna be Joseph's youngest son, and how that, you know, the Egyptians turned that tribe out. You know, from the tribe of Jeroboam from the tribe of Ephraim, being chased into Egypt during Solomon times, and then coming out with the two Egyptian religions, putting it on the northern kingdom, and it stayed on us for 300 years till, you know, we was driven out the land, you know, during the Babylonian wars, you know, 2,608 years ago. You know, it's a long time, you know, for us to be trying to reclaim our heritage. But we got to. We are not the ones that originally broke the covenant. We are descended from them. And we have to straighten up what our ancestors did. We have to come back and correct the wrong that our ancestors made that got us in this situation. And then we do that by claiming our Israelite heritage and then rejecting the evil wickedness of this culture. You know? All right, Hebrews, this is what got our mouth tore out. You know, I mean, I was trying to walk the history down from Egypt, you know what I'm saying, to now. And then go into the scriptures. All right, you know what I'm saying? We know we left Egypt, going into the promised land, you know, with Prophet Moses, then Joshua, and then, you know, Judges. Man, we got our mouth tore out because we paused and started kicking it with the enemies. And then we kind of like really never recovered from that. And then what little recovery we did have, Almighty Yah tried to use King David as the standard. And then, man, we know what happened. You know, I got a video, I ain't been too long, did about King David, whether he gonna come back or not, you know, and how that, you know, the Egyptians killed that promise. You know, they killed the King David promise, and they tricked us out the promised land. That's like if it's any Israelite that's following and believing in the Egyptian culture and religion, you got to be pure mad, because that's what caused the transatlantic slave trade, was us associating with the Egyptian culture and so forth. All right, but you know, during the Judges, the tribe of Benjamin got tricked into gayness by the Jebusite Amorites. You know, that's like now how they tricking the Israelites into, you know, a culture that the Creator is against and was against, and how that they trying to make it seem like it's okay to be that way and you have your right to be evil and wicked like that, is what our enemies trying to tell our people. And then got laws to protect them. And then how did they doing that to deteriorate us and to keep us from being Israelites, is when they make laws to protect the people in our culture from being down for their evil and wickedness, and then that's what our enemies doing, and then how that they turning the Hebrews out left and right. You know, you got some Hebrews Hebrew males wish they was women and so forth, because you know the oppressor kind of opened the door for them, you know what I'm saying, to get in and have material wealth and so forth. You know, but all that's finna come to an end, you know, cause the Tanakh say so, you know. But it's a lot of prophecies in this Tanakh that ain't came to pass, far as us Israelites being liberated and then being put in the homeland. That those are prophecies hot and burning right now, and that's what's making the world history turn and go. And how it's a possibility that when this country break out in a war, that it's over with, that we finna be free, and how enemies know it, and how that they can't save themselves from the disaster that's coming. But I say that they can if they wake up right now. You know, the people wake up right now and realize that we Israelites then place us in the promised land in the mountains and leave us alone, then they can go on with their agenda, do what they want to, but leave us Israelites alone. And then how that'll be fulfilling prophecy and closing the Tanakh. That'll be closing Tanakh if our enemies place us in the mountainous part of the promised land that they don't want, and then leave us alone to worship Almighty Yah. That's all we want. That's all we Israelites want. And then that's our goal. That's our goal right there. But, like I say, man, it's kind of rough, us waking up and trying to reclaim an abandoned heritage after 2,608 years. Man, that's a long time. Man, that's a long time. It's like I got a video showing that how the Sephardi Jews been in our heritage for 2,740 years, around about 722 BC, when they got into our heritage. And then when we ran off into Africa, we left the Sephardi Jews our whole heritage. It was Ashkenazi that chased us into Africa during the Babylonian Wars, because we said that we want to do some Egyptian religion. So them folks come and chased us into Africa to do the Egyptian religion, and we was cursed, by the Creator, saying that that if we broke covenant, that a lot of stuff was gonna happen to us. I can show some of these verses that and we've been living it. Us Israelites been living the tragedy and the hardship that the Creator say that the Israelites would be living once covenant was broken. Man, it's been horrible too. Man, it's been terrible. And Almighty Yah said He would even know that we would break the covenant. He knew we would break the covenant. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Deuteronomy 31, verse 16. And the Elohim said unto Moses, Behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a-whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whether they go to be among them, and will forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they shall say in that day, Are not all these evils upon us, because our Yah is not among us? Sure enough, it's just like that now. It's just like that now, is what the Israelite community is saying. And even Prophet Moses even said the same thing. This is Deuteronomy 31, verse 29. For I know that after my death ye will utterly corrupt yourselves, and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil shall befall you in the latter days, because ye shall do evil in the sight of the Elohim, to provoke him to anger through the works of your hands. And that sure enough came to pass. It came to pass. I explained in the Israelite Brotherhood videos how when we was in Egypt, and then Pharaoh tricked Prophet Joseph and gave him Asenath, the priest of our own daughter, and then Joseph had the two sons by the Asenath, the priest of our own daughter, and how the tribe of Ephraim always kept an association with Egypt. Always kept association with Egypt. They even used to bring oil from Assyria, man, to Egypt. And then when Solomon tried to kill Jeroboam, and then he took off into Egypt, and then he would stay there with his relatives, because the tribe of Ephraim were mixed with the Egyptians. Their mama was an Egyptian. Their granddaddy was an Egyptian. Look, this is Hosea 12. Ephraim feedeth on wind, and followeth after the east wind. He daily increaseth lies and desolation, and they do make a covenant, with the Assyrians, and oil is carried into Egypt. See, so the tribe of Ephraim, man, kept doing some stuff, and stayed associating with the Egyptians, and it's like, the Egyptians would give him refuge from Solomon. Now, as I was saying at first, how we come out of Egypt with Prophet Moses, then Joshua, and then we Judges, how we get our mouth tore out, and then we get a little control of things through Prophet Samuel, and then Saul, and then King David. Oh man, King David laid it down, and that's why the Creator promised him to have a descendant on the throne, is because he was the standard that we Israelites should have been following, and that how the Egyptians got them, got his descendants, during the Babylonian wars, took them out, put them on Egyptian religion. That's like putting a loaded gun to your head, as if somebody asked you to follow some Egyptian religion. Alright, Hebrews, let's go and show some scriptures on some of this. So we know that the Egyptians, gave refuge to Ephraim, the tribe of Ephraim during Solomon time, and then how that they would, the tribe of Ephraim would come out and then put that Egyptian religion on the northern kingdom, and then how we stayed on the Egyptian religion for 300 years. And then King Josiah cleaned it up. It was a prophecy for him to clean it up. And then after he cleaned it up, the Egyptians come out and killed him, and then put us back on Egyptian religion. And then Ashkenazi would come in under the name Scythian with the Chaldeans, and then they would chase us into Africa off the promised land. And then the people that was placed in 722 BC, that was Babylonian scribes, would get our heritage. And then our heritage would get lost, because the people from Babylon, the Sepharvims, are Amorites, are Canaanites. And these peoples had a government, man, before we was even the Israelite people. Man, before Prophet Abraham was born, the Canaanite tribes, the Amorite tribes had control of Mesopotamia, and that was their evil tax system that we were supposed to destroy and get rid of when we came out of Egypt, that we became victim to. And they was placed in our land in 722 BC. And how that we never drove them out, because the peoples was on Egyptian religion all the way from Jeroboam times. Let's try to get some of this little Jeroboam, showing him fooling with the Egyptian religion. If you go to Second Chronicles, let's see, Second Chronicles, and now that'll be First Kings, I think, 11. All right. Alright, 1 Kings 11:26. They show that Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zerudah, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zurah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. Alright. And Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt unto Shawshank. So that's going to be his relative. That's going to be the folks from the Mishwish tribes that we associated with. That land would kill King Josiah, not this king, but his descendants, into Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. So we know that the tribe of Ephraim, is got some Egyptian in them. And if you turn to, that's going to be Genesis, I think that's 41. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephaniah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. And Joseph went out all over Egypt, And unto Joseph was born two sons. This is Genesis 41:50. And before the years of the famine, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for he had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. The name of the second called he Ephraim, for Yah had caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So we know that the tribe of Ephraim would get refuge from the Egyptians, because they are kin to the Egyptians. And then he would come out with the Egyptian gods that would stay on us all the way till we abandoned heritage. We was on in the promised land, man, for about 800 years total, from exiting Egypt till we was driven out the land in 588 BC is about, 800 years. That's not long. That's not long at all to be kicked out the promised land. And then that's what happened to us. All right. Now let's see here. With that Jeroboam religion that he put on us. I'm going to show that. And then that's that Egyptian religion that we would eventually go back into Africa to worship. But how we only had a pass for 31 years during King Josiah's reign, when he got rid of the Egyptian religion and cleaned up the whole kingdom. And then how that the Egyptians come got him and then put us back on the Egyptian religion. Look, all right, so this is 1 Kings 28. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto it, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. That's what the stuff that Jeroboam put on us. And then if we go to, I think it's 2 Kings 17:16, showed that they was, that we was on that junk for a good long time, which we was until King Josiah cleaned it up. All right, 2 Kings 17:16. All right. And they left the commandments of the Elohim their Yah, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worship all the host of heaven in Baal. That's what the northern kingdom was doing. It was all messed up. It was all messed up. It was all messed up on the Egyptian religion. We didn't forsake that stuff. Just King Josiah come about, and here's the prophecy for him to clean it up. Let me look at another one. 2 Kings 10:29. 2 Kings 10:29. We was messed up, man. Just like how we are now. We got that same mentality. All right. Howbeit, from the sins of Jeroboam, the sins of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, Jehu departed not from after them, to wit the golden calves that were in Bethel and that were in Dan. So the junk stayed on us, man, for about 300 some years. 300 some years to King Josiah cleaned it up. So, if the Egyptians got us on their religion, man, that's helping them. They could do trade across the promised land. But this was the promise to put it out. And then after King Josiah was killed, we would abandon heritage. And then we would be out of heritage for 2,608 years. That's a long time. Look, this is 1 Kings 13. And behold, there came a man of Yah out of Judah, and he finna, tell them that King Josiah gonna be born and gonna get rid of the Egyptian religion. This was our only chance to be free of it, from being on it so long, from when Jeroboam went into Egypt and come out with it. We was on it for 300 years, and then we was only off of it for 30 years, and then we go into Africa and got back on it, and then we was enslaved, and here we are now, trying to reclaim a heritage after all that time. But this the thing that I was trying to, get up to, that I keep, going back to Egypt, is when we left Egypt going into the promised land, and then how that when we was driven out during the Babylonian times, that we stayed in Africa and we didn't have no contact with our enemies to the Greeks, who come in and called us Grammentians. Our first derogatory name, they called us Grammentian. And you know, if it's a standing army in Africa in 600-700 BC, there's gonna be them Hebrews that had fled the promised land going into Africa to hide from the Babylonians. We basically said that we was through with the covenant. We was through with the covenant. And then, all right, that the Greeks gonna be the first to come get up with us and try to, document us, and they called us Grammentians. And the Greeks were able to come get up with us is because that they defeated the exiles, protectors, the Persians. They defeated the Persians, and then that allowed the Greeks to start moving all around trying to find us. And then the Greeks will whoop them in Africa, and then the Romans will come in, and then we'll fight and we'll whoop the Romans. And then our water start drying up on us and stuff, and then we start having conflict with these African nations, and then they would sell us in war to the Europeans, for trade. And then off to the Americas we go till we here now, trying to get it together. And then we know during the slavery days that you couldn't say you was nothing but what our enemy told us that we were, unless you was gonna get killed. And that was enforced in us for hundreds of years. You couldn't be nobody but what our enemies say we were. That's why the vast majority of our people have our captors' last name, is because our captors was forced on us thoroughly during the slavery days. It wasn't a Hebrew that escaped with his identity during the transatlantic slave trade, and how everything was lost. Everything was lost. All right, Hebrews, let's show us, because that Egyptian religion, we stayed on it all the way to Jeroboam, put it on us, and to Jeroboam put it on us, and King Josiah cleaned it up, and then we would go into Africa, and then we would be enslaved. But this is what we said before we went. If you go to Jeremiah, it's going to be our last act on the promised land. If you go to Jeremiah chapter 44, this is what we see. Let me read this right here. And then this would cause us to get enslaved, because we playing with the Creator. We playing with the Creator, disrespecting him big time right here. So, slavery should be just what the Creator said it to be. Look, then all the captains of the forces, and Johan the son of Ker, and Zephaniah the son of Hoshea, and all the people from the least even unto the greatest came near, and said unto Jeremiah the prophet, let we beseech thee, our supplication be accepted before thee, and pray for us unto the Elohim thy Yah, even for all this remain, for we are left but a few of many. As then eyes behold, we was all sad, dirty, and wet. We been wicked on the promised land. We then got kicked out, and then we all wet, dirty, going into Egypt. All pitiful and stuff. Look, then Jeremiah the prophet said unto them, I have heard you. Look, then prophet Jeremiah said unto them, I have heard you. Behold, I will pray unto the Elohim your Yah according to your words. And it shall come to pass that whatsoever thing the Elohim shall answer you, I will declare unto you. I will keep nothing back from you. Then they said to Jeremiah, the Elohim be a true and faithful witness between us, if we do not, even according to all the things for which the Elohim Yah shall send to thee. Now that's awful right there. That's awful for us to say that Jeremiah, that whatever the Creator say, we're going to do it. No matter what it is, we're going to do it. And then have our heart set on going into Africa to worship the Egyptian religion. That's sad right there, man. That's hard. But that's what type of people we is. We wicked and evil like that. That's why Almighty God said, I know what kind of people these is. They gonna break my covenant. They gonna break my covenant. And sure enough, we did. Sure enough, we did. And then this us disrespecting the Creator right here. Man. Then they said unto Jeremiah, the Elohim be a true and faithful witness between us if we do not, even according to all the things for which the Elohim thy Yah shall send thee to us, whether it be good or whether it be evil. We will obey the voice of the Elohim our Yah to whom we send thee, that it may be well with us when we obey the voice of the Elohim our Yah. And it come to pass after 10 days that the word of the Elohim came unto Jeremiah. Then called he Johan the son of Kir, and all the captains of the forces which were with him, and all the people from the least even unto the greatest, and said unto them, This said the Elohim, the Yah of Israel, unto whom ye sent me to present your supplications before him. If ye will still abide in this land, then I will build you and not pull you down, and I will plant you and not pluck you up, for I repent me of the evil that I have done unto you. Be not afraid of the king of Babylon, of whom ye are afraid, and be not afraid of him, said the Elohim, for I am with you to serve you and to deliver you from his hand. We ain't want to hear that. And then this is what we said. But let me see. This is what he said. But if ye say, we will not dwell in this land, neither obey the voice of the Elohim our Yah, saying, No, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet, nor have hunger of bread, there will we dwell. Ah, man, that's what we said. That was our undoing right there. That was our undoing, and that was us abandoning the heritage when we said that and then did something else. First we told Prophet Jeremiah, we're going to do whatever you say, whatever the Creator say, we're going to do it. And then this is what we say right here. Look, all right. And it come to pass that when Jeremiah made an end of speaking unto all the people, all the words of the Elohim their Yah, for which the Elohim their Yah had sent him to them, even all these words, then spake Azariah the son of Hoshea, and Johan the son of Kir, and all the proud men, saying unto Jeremiah, Thou speakest falsely. The Elohim our Yah hath not sent thee to say, Go not into Egypt to dwell, but meant to sojourn there. But Baruch the son of Ner said thee on against us to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans, that they might put us to death and carry us away captive into Babylon. Look, those Hebrews, the whole Hebrew nation, went into Africa, never returned home. Never returned home. And that how we didn't return home when the other Israelites come from the Mesopotamia area, and then how we never came out of Africa when these few individuals that was captured and took into Babylon, and then when they come home, how we never came out of Africa, man, to be reunited with them, and how we are descended from the people that told Jeremiah that mess, and then this was what we would say. This is what we would say. If you go to Jeremiah 44, man, I'm always stressing this because this was what got our mouth so out. Jeremiah 44, verse 15, 16, 17, 18. Then this was a state of mind. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwell in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, Now, you remember what we said before, how we're going to do everything that the Creator say. If Jeremiah go ask him, and then whatever he come back with, we going to do it. And then you see, we say, no, we ain't going to do what the Creator say. And how we going into Africa to live. Look. And then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelled in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food and were well and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have been consumed by the sword and by famine. And that's what we see. And that's what we see. And that was our reason for going into Egypt to stay. Now, we see that we was going into Egypt to stay. And that when we went into Egypt and doing the Queen of Heaven religion, that we wasn't having no problems. And then you see the problems that the Creator put on us. We've been having nothing but problems. And that how that our enemies know that we are the Israelites, and how they trying to forestall it. And then how we Hebrews got to wake up. You know, you Hebrews that's called Negroes, African Americans, and blacks, you a danger to us. You the reason why the enemies is getting us. Is because you are being identified by a name that our oppressor gave you. Black, African American, colored, Negroes. You know, it's people's none. Men is Hebrews none perish men up under them titles. And how our enemies, man, don't want us to come into heritage. You know, we've been out of heritage, man, a long time. You know, we've been out of heritage a long time. 2,608 years is a long time. That's a long time to be out of heritage. But guess what? Almighty Yah said that we was going to wake up and he was going to resurrect us. And we're going to serve him. And the only way we're going to be able to serve Almighty Yah is to know that we the Israelites, and that we supposed to do that. Alright, let's look at some more scriptures. Let's look at what Prophet Isaiah said now. If this can come to pass, if we can get this to come to pass, and this is only going to come to pass is when we Israelites are resurrected from this oppression that we in. Look, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountains of the Elohim house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Now we know that didn't happen during the exile times, and we know that them folks over there now trying to want to build a temple in Jerusalem, whereas this say the mountain parts. You see, we know that they ain't got it right, and that Almighty Yah word is gonna be right. And we want the mountains, when we go back, we want the mountains a part that they don't want. We want a part in the promised land that our enemies don't want. And that's gonna have to be the Rocky Mountain parts. Look, and many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go to the top of the mountain of the Elohim, to the house of Yah of Jacob, and he would teach us his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Elohim from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. And nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. O house of Jacob, come ye and let us walk in the light of the Elohim. You know, and look, therefore thou hast forsaken thy people, the house of Jacob, because they be replenished from the east, and are soothsayers like the Philistines. But I mean, just like our enemies, the Philistines ain't nothing but the Amorites, and the Amorites are the folks whose culture we are set up under. And they please themselves and the children of strangers. You know, that's what we do. We please ourselves in the children of strangers. You know what I'm saying? And it's been like that for the longest. I mean, it's been like that for the longest. How the Hebrews wanna be like the enemy and do everything they do. do everything our enemy do, and then think it's righteous. You know what I'm saying? That's like this. We waiting on this to come past too. This hasn't came past. For the Elohim will have mercy on Jacob, and I will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Elohim for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Elohim shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from thy hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, and that thou shalt take up this parable against the king of Babylon, because this Amorite administrative culture that we in represent Babylon. Represent Babylon. The Elohim had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He had made the nations in anger. You know what I'm saying? He ruled the nations in anger and prosecuted and none hindered. You know, and it's like we've been ruled with a continuous stroke, man, from the slavery days to now. We Hebrews are the only people on the face of this earth that's been held in captivity like we are. And like I said, millions of us took into slavery, and then they released millions of us at once. We're not going to have the resources to uproot ourselves and go back where we come from, and how we caught in this administrative structure that won't allow us to progress as a whole. As a whole. All right. He who smote the people with wrath with a continual stroke, he had ruled the nations in anger and prosecuted, and none hindered. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon sing. Since thou art laid down, no filler is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee. Even all the chief ones of the earth, it had risen up from their thrones, all the kings of the nations. And we know they stay digging folks up. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worms are spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? And the Lucifer is the light. The light. Now, how about this organization be talking about pushing the light? The light. The light. The light. And, you know, we know what that light mean. We know what that light mean. Now, we know what that light mean. We ain't gonna play with it. Look, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. And that's what they doing now. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. And that's what they're trying to do. Yet thou shalt be brung down to hell, to the side of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake it, the kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? You know, this go on and, you know, show that we gonna be resurrected. Man, it's a whole bunch of verses, man, in here in the prophet Isaiah history that show the Israelites' redemption and coming back into heritage. You know, like I say, you know, man, we trying to reclaim a heritage that we abandoned for Egyptian religion 2,608 years ago during the Babylonian Wars. And then when we was on the covenant, then we were so shaky with it and how we barely did it. And now we know that this is our life, and that if we don't wake up and try to claim our heritage, that we gonna be destroyed, because the Negroes and the blacks, they destroying them, and there's no record of their destruction on a historical context. You know, they just can be wiped out and swept up under the rug. So if you claiming a black, a Negro, a black or African American heritage, and you hear this message, you better wake your tail up, because you endangering us. You endangering us Israelites. You already marked for destruction, but you trying to take us down with you by claiming the Negro, African American, and black title. You know, I know some of you Hebrews, Israelites are coonized, but where they done coonized you, and you know what I'm saying, that you refuse to want to wake up to a Israelite heritage, and that you just love being the coon that you is. You know, hey, you're going to pass away. You're going to pass away. You're going to have to, because those Israelites coming into our heritage, and can't nothing stop it. Can't nothing stop it. So we reclaiming our heritage, the heritage that we abandoned 2,608 years ago. We taking that back. We taking that back. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood.